Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Illumineers Quest podcast, where we talk everything Lorcana. I'm Zach.
And I'm Jacob.
Thanks for coming on this journey with us. Set 5 is upon us. Set 5 next week. It's crazy to say.
The skies are a-shimmering.
The skies are definitely shimmering, and the art is definitely shimmering as well.
The art is nuts.
I think, I'm very like a light, colorful, fun,
Yeah.
like vibes kind of guy. And so this is very much more like towards the Inklands kind of style, where it's very bright and airy and fun and vibrant. And so from that respect, this might be my favorite art.
It's a
art
lot of
art set.
illuminating.
Yeah.
And it's very shimmering.
We're kind of scrolling through some of it here. Fireworks, confetti, northern lights. I mean, there's just a ton of cool, light accents, which makes it really pretty in my book. But
I agree.
I guess to just say they continue to level up the cards, they continue to level up the art, they continue to level up the scene, the support, everything. So yeah, it's been fantastic. But anyways, if you haven't picked up yet, we're doing our Shimmering Skies preview episode.
All right, man. I mean, we've gotten a lot of reveals, a ton. And I think some of them are pretty exciting. I mean...
Yeah, I think so too. I think there's a lot of... And again, there's a lot of things that go into like what shapes a meta. And so like not every card can be meta defining. Like a Diablo, like a Sad Beast, like an Ursula. The types of cards that are very stable. Like a Tinkerbell even. Like Tinkerbell's been around forever and has continued to be a staple. I see a couple cards that have the potential. I'm not saying they are for sure, but they have a lot of potential to be meta-shaping cards.
Is one of them our card of the week?
For sure.
All right.
For sure.
All right. Tease.
Yeah, tease for sure. So anyways, yeah, we're jumping into it quick here. We're going to talk Shimmering Skies. We're going to, talk about some of what is exciting us the most, how we kind of see this meta shaping up. It's a very weird one. I got my ticket to Vegas. Spoiler alert.
Nice.
So I will be going to Vegas. Unfortunately, not a lot of people locally got one. I think it's like 3 people genuinely.
Wow.
So it's not near as as many people got it. All that said, that's going to be right around the corner from like really starting to shape itself from like when the set comes out, and so I've got to figure it out fast because I want to perform well again. So. We're going to talk Shimmering Skies. We're going to talk what we think the meta is going to shape out to be, what's going to be strong, what's going to be take a step back from where we are today. Just kind of touch on some of the important cards, some of the important themes that we're seeing, and how we feel about everything overall. So let's go ahead and jump into it. As always, everyone, thanks for being here. Thanks for following along with us. Thanks for supporting. If you want to support us, the best way to do so is use our TCG Player affiliate link in the description where you're listening/watching. You can also find it on our Twitter/X account at LorcanaPod. That is the best way to help support the show. So with that said, you already kind of mentioned the card of the week, so why don't we go ahead and jump into that?
All right.
So card of the week, we've picked one of the new legendaries, looking at a preview for set 5, and that's Prince Naveen, the ukulele player.
In Amber.
He's a 4-cost Amber, uninkable. He has a 3/3 stat line, quests for 2, and is a Singer 6. So... I don't think there's a ton of impactful 6-cost cards
at the moment.
No, but there's a ton of 5-cost, impactful songs. So, being a Singer 6 makes it very clutch, and even more importantly, his ability says it's beautiful. No, when you play this character, you may play a song with cost 6 or less for free. So this basically is a 10, like a 9 or 10 value card for 4. It's like Ursula Deceiver of All has, essentially a 6, a value of 6 because she can sing 3 twice. Mm-hmm. So if she's singing Strength or Storm twice, you're getting a 6-cost value out of her. Same thing with like why Ariel has been around for so long, because you're getting a 5-cost value out of her. This is even different because you don't have to sing the card. You literally play the thing and then you get 5 more value or 6 more value just right off the top. Insanely busted. Again, the card is busted. Do I think it's going to be meta defining? I think this has the potential to be one of the meta defining cards. Do I know that for certain? No. Like, I imagine Steel Song's going to have some sort of a comeback. We talked about Pete in the last episode and how big of a, an impact he's going to have on like the Steel Song meta and potentially, Sapphire Steel meta and things along those lines. But yeah, I don't see a world where this doesn't have some sort of big impact. Imagine turn 3 you play Ariel, you find a whole new world. Turn 4 you play Naveen, whole new world for free. You don't even have to exert Ariel, and then you find off of that whole new world a Swords or a Zeus or a Bare Necessities or something that you can then sing with Ariel for free. And so you're basically getting 2 free songs in one turn.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got a full hand to start dealing with stuff. So I don't see a world where that amount of value every time you play him is not a lot. The questing for 2 I don't think can be overlooked either, because like late game plays, you can play him, you can play a Zeus to get rid of a target, and then he's on the board questing for 2 next turn. Like I don't think you can overlook that.
This card's nuts. It really is. Like, as soon as I saw this, I'm like, wow, that is really worth that legendary status. Because we're getting a few cards that I would say maybe aren't worth that legendary status. So this one in particular, though, it's
insane. It's one that's going, the way that I've really started to evaluate cards and I've really started to evaluate places in decks is, are you guaranteed impact? Mm-hmm. Early in the game, it's fine to have a card that might not guarantee you impact. It might, be a little bit of a board pressure, or it might quest for a little bit early on the game, especially depending on your strategy. If you're a control deck or an aggro deck or whatever the case might be, it might not have a bunch. But like when you're getting towards the late game, the mid and late game, like your cards have to have impact. If you just play something and it's a dead turn, then you lose a ton of tempo. And losing that tempo can shift the momentum of the game, and then you feel like you're on the back foot and you're just trying to keep up. Like, that's exactly what he does, is he shifts the tempo of the game.
In your favor.
Massively. Imagine, you're playing, again, I know that, Bucky's dead and, he's gotten a grave and blah, 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 but imagine today's meta, you play Naveen turn 4, and then you play Swords turn 4, wipe the board. And you don't even sing it. Like, you just get to play it for free.
It is nuts.
So the amount of value that you get out of that is very, very backbreaking, I think, to come back from. I think the amount of things that you can do with it just really enables you to get into some cool plays. And so I think he's one of the ones to watch out for as well. I've seen a lot of people calling him the Diablo of the set. And so if you're wanting him, you'll be ready to pay a pretty penny, because I feel like it'll be an expensive one for sure, being the legendary. But it's a fantastic one for sure. So
Amber finally getting a good legendary again. They had set 1. They had a good one.
Set 1. They had a fantastic one. I'm trying to think if there's been anything. Perdita had some.
Perdita and Kita
and Mufasa.
Okay.
Okay. So take it back.
Take it back.
Amber legendary is pretty good. Yeah, he's going to be pretty solid for sure. So we're not going to talk about every card, obviously, because there's just a ton to go through now. Most of the set, if not 80% of the set's been revealed, but he's definitely one to watch out for. Scrolling through the list.
Oh, we going straight to the main topic?
Oh, you're right. That's card of the week. Oh my gosh, I am just getting into it. So yeah, but I guess that is like all there is.
We can
really.
go to the main topic.
I think that's all there's really left, because we get into news, what's on our mind, league recap and stuff. But the league recap, I guess, is that next week is the last week of league, and I think I have number 1 wrapped up, and I say that just because I haven't missed a week of league, and so I just have the best attendance record. But I think second place is going to be very tight. I think between like James and Michael and Jason, who's relative on the newer side, but I don't think he's missed much. Yeah, did I say Seth?
My attendance just
yeah. Really you and Tyler's attendance has not been up to snuff this set, so you guys are out of luck this turn, but
we're busy and sick.
Yeah, so I think that that's we're wrapping up the set. My competitive mind has shifted from set 4 meta, and I've kind of just written all that off now, because that's the end of the set, and so I've built a bunch of fun decks to take and to just play around with, because I don't need to like practice or get reps on anything, because it's going to change here as we're talking about. But yeah, I'm excited. Next week, so it comes out on the 9th. I don't know if everybody else has seen, I imagine most people have if they're listening to the show, the massive news about the D23 box art set of cards. We have had a trip planned to go to Disney for 5 weeks now, and guess when we're going to be there? 7th through the 11th, baby, on the 9th. Get the box set. Let's go. So I will be at Disney Springs bright and early Friday morning to get me a box set. Best believe.
Can we talk about what's in it?
You want to talk about Oswald? I know that's what you mean.
100%. I want to. So why is that not the most exciting thing about it?
Because the BLT and the Cindy art are fantastic. That's what I like the most.
Okay, we already have challenge versions of those.
But we haven't gotten those. Like, I'm not getting, like, I don't have a golden Mickey. You're right. Like, that's a different one. But I think like the overall art of the set and like the foiling on it looks really, really good. Obviously, Oswald's crazy because there's 6 card. They're basically 6 enchanteds, like we kind of got for the Disney 100 gift set. It's just 6 enchanteds, right? Like I think that's all it is.
Yeah.
But their cards or their sets 1 through 6, so there's 1 card from each set. So it's Mickey Mouse, BLT, Cindy Stouthearted, and I don't remember the rest. Do you remember the rest of them?
Deceiver 3. Deceiver
You're right.
2 cost.
Yes. Ursula Deceiver.
4 cost. Hold on.
I don't remember. Oh no, set 4? I don't remember what set 4 is. I don't remember. Anyways,
set 5 is a Vanellope Shift.
Yes,
Floodborn.
set 5 is one of the Vanellopes. Set 6 is Oswald, which Jake was talking about. I can't remember what set 4 is either. I mean, we can look it up, but yeah. So Jake's excited about Oswald because it's a set 6 card.
I mean, it's Walt's original guy,
and it's a really cool. And I think it could be a really good card, like as well. How cool would it be if I got a couple of those boxes in Disney and then like put them in my Sapphire deck and like played it the next week at League?
Yeah, I mean, probably not legal anywhere else.
No, it's definitely not legal, but it would be funny, right?
Oh, Bruno.
Oh, that is right. Yeah, the Bruno, the amethyst one. But yeah, so that's what's on. I guess that's on my mind. Super lucky to get to be at Disney when those come out, so I can hopefully pick up some Shimmering Skies pulls to get some Disney magic. Hopefully, I might
be following you there,
and you might actually be there with us at the same time, which would be kind of crazy. And then we could go get the boxes together and get some pulls going. But anything to add on your side?
No, let's get to the main topic.
There's a ton to talk about, so that's probably a good call. So we talked about Naveen already. I don't think there's a ton else to say on there except. I think there's a world. Well, Steel Song, he's obviously going to be fantastic. I also think there's some more tools that have been added to like the Under the Sea, the Lemon Lime deck. That one's starting to scare me a little bit as well because I think there's a ton of stuff there. So I also think Naveen is going to be playable in that meta potentially deck as well. But yeah, so let's just go down the list here. Don't want to talk about everything because again, I think I said this previously. There's just so many of them now. But we'll talk about the kind of notable ones. I want to stop on Fix It Felix for a minute and Amber as well. He's a little underwhelming, but he's one of my favorite characters, especially from Wreck-It Ralph. So just kind of had to say that one. We said, how many times have we said we wanted him to be the most like busted healer?
What's cool from a story lore perspective though is that he's rebuilding the Great Illuminary.
Yeah, he's rebuilding the Great Illuminary and his doesn't he have one that heals locations?
Yes.
Whenever you play this character, if you have
No, it's the top one, is it not?
No, I'm
the Floodborn?
Bodyguard shift. No, it just says your locations.
He has one that heals locations. 100% he does.
I know. Is it an action that heals locations then? Or like, what am I doing here? There's not one.
We'll find it.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
I'm almost positive there's one that heals locations too. But yeah, so I guess that from a story perspective, that kind of makes sense as well. That he's healing locations and not necessarily people because he's a builder. And so from that perspective, it makes sense. Okay, we have our first 5 lore base character. I don't think we need to spend a ton on this one, but it's worth mentioning because we mentioned in the last episode that Maribel has the new set champion enchanted card, and it's this one. So she's a 5-cost inkable 5/5 stat line with 5 lore.
Can I say maybe a hot take?
What?
I like the regular art better than the enchanted art.
That's a hot take for sure. I mean, I don't know. Maybe the overall art is better, but obviously, like the enchanted just looks fantastic. But
yeah, I mean, like just the actual
the image. Yeah,
the image.
Maybe that's not a hot take, but her ability says you can't play this character unless you have 5 or more characters in play. So I've already started cooking up like Maribel plus Stitch plus Pete. So Stitch, you get to draw and play a bunch of 2-cost cards out really quickly, and then Maribel can come down after you've drawn a bunch with Stitch Rockstar. and then Pete can kind of save your board from being wiped out from a swords or something from all those low cost cards.
The Pete referee, right?
Yeah, that we talked about it on the card of the week on our last episode. So yeah, I think Maribel is okay. Again, I think she doesn't guarantee you value and is a little hard to get out, and so from that respect, I don't think she's super playable. But I love the Enchanted, and I love the potential. It's just one of those like heavy hitters that like a home run card that I'm a sucker for. But
yeah, absolutely. Can we? And I know you skipped past the whole crew, but can we talk about Brother Bear?
I mean, we can talk about Brother Bear in general.
They're not notable. I understand.
The cards are not notable, but the property, they're adding Brother Bear.
They're adding Brother Bear, which on our first speculation episode for What We Wanted was one of my first.
Okay, I don't remember that. I definitely should have said that first. So I remembered that. But yeah, that's a pretty. I know that was a big one for you, so that's cool to see.
It's a huge one.
That's cool to see.
I love that.
Okay, so I think there's another like type of card.
There is.
That we have to talk about.
No, it's not like a location or item. It's just like something they've made.
The mechanic of the card, and it's not a named mechanic. It's not like a type where you have like resist,
like an evasive,
but it's like Chernobog. It's basically they've made a bunch of Chernobogs now, and so what I mean by Chernobog is you can cheat out Chernobog early because his ability says for each character you have in your discard, he costs one less, and so basically cheating the cost of cards is this new type of card. And so there's a new Kristoff Bodyguard that costs 9 in Amber. So he has Bodyguard, so that's insane. He's a 3/7 stat line, so really tough to take out. And I mean, I guess unless you have Medusa. But we'll save that for another time. But he has an ability that says for each song card in your discard, you pay 1 less for this character. It also doesn't say like Chernobog, put them back into your deck. And so what if you have 9 song cards in your discard? Do you just get to play 2 Kristoffs for free in your hand? Like, that's crazy. That's nuts. Crazy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I really love that mechanic. There's a couple others like that we'll talk about. So I like that idea. I like that your like game plan, the strategy of your deck helps get higher cost, more impactful characters out for a cheaper price. And so that's cool to see. The last real one I want to talk about in Amber... Or there's 2, sorry. There's 2.
Yeah.
Is Daisy Duck, and she's a 1-cost uninkable with a 1/4 stat line. So 4 willpower is nuts for a 4 cost or for a 1 cost. She also quests for 2, also crazy. The one downside, quote unquote downside, is her ability says whenever this character quests, each opponent reveals the top card of their deck. If it's a character card, you may put that card into their hand. Otherwise, put it to the bottom of their deck. Could you be ramping, your opponent's hand a little bit? Sure. This is clearly a hyper aggro card. You're gonna get, I would think, 6 lore from this. I don't want to say guaranteed, but yeah, if you're on the play, you're getting 6 lore. Like,
yeah, I'd say so.
So, I mean, from that regard, it's really really insane. Also, if you're playing somebody that's like playing an item deck or playing a song deck, then you're putting those important cards to the bottom of their deck and not allowing them to get to those, impactful actions that can help.
And off those item decks, you're probably getting more turns her questing because of the early, they're not challenging stuff too. So.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that'll be a very, very, very good aggro tool for sure.
All right. Can we talk about my boy?
Okay, you're gonna kill me here, but what is he from? Alan Adale? How do you just get to it for me. Let's not drag this out for the
Robin
listeners.
Hood.
Yeah, I don't remember him.
He's this dude. He sings a song. It's the intro song.
He's jamming out in the Illuminary.
He's like Elvis, but a rooster. He's my absolute favorite.
Okay.
Well, I love Alan Adale.
Alan Adale. Okay, so we got a 4-cost inkable Alan Adale Rockin' Rooster, which is one of Jake's favorites. 2/3 stat line, quests for 2. However, his ability says whenever you play a song, gain 1 lore.
No, what's the ability name?
Fan favorite.
Yeah.
So, I think this goes into the song deck too. I think it has to.
This is maybe the most awkward edition because I don't know, the 4-drop might be a little awkward.
The 4 is a little weird. I think, we're getting to the place now where the uninkable count in the song deck is really high. And so if you could replace the flutes with Alan, you've got a body on board. a target. Sure, does he get taken out fast? Maybe, but then
keep him ready, right?
Or no, you do. But until you're in a position where obviously you're trying to close out the game. But I mean, your smashes, your Medusas, your grab your swords, tinks, like all that stuff's taking him out because he's got a 2-3 stat line. But what I mean by like if they're targeting him instead of your Ariel or your Rapunzel or Piglet, if you're going on like the more aggro side of things, like I don't think that's a bad thing. Like if you play him and you sing a song or two, because it's not like a flute where you exert it and you get one lore. Mm-hmm. Like if you have a Cinderella and an Ariel out and you sing a song with both of them, that's 2 lore. Mm-hmm. And then if you clear the board and quest with him next turn, that's 4 lore. Like I feel like he has the value there. The 4 cost is a little weird on the curve and a little weird because it is a little later on where you maybe want to be playing Naveen. But also you have to think about this like at a late game closeout state where you're at 15, 16, you sing a song or two, you're at 17, 18.
He really is Amber Goat.
Yeah, he really is. He really is for sure. There's so many ways to like cheat out lore now in Amber that I think he's not as good as Naveen. I don't think he guarantees you a ton of impact, but there's a lot of ways where he will.
High ceiling.
And so I think there's a lot of potential for him. I think he'll be in a bunch of decks for sure.
Awesome.
Okay, so
we're talking about
Rapunzel's. I don't know, Rapunzel's Tower. That one I think's okay. I think the Queen's Sensor Core is also okay. We'll just like kind of glaze over these because I don't want to spend 4 hours. We're already 20 minutes into the episode and we're on Amber.
We talked about Naveen for a while.
Yeah, I know. Queen Sensor Core. At the start of your turn, if you have a princess or queen character in play, gain 1 lore. I think back to like the Moana princess deck. Ways to cheat out lore is really important in today's game. That obviously has a lot of potential there. It also has the ability that says exert for 2 ink, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a princess or queen character, you may put that into your hand, otherwise put it at the bottom of your deck. I don't feel like that's very impactful. I think it's more just if you're playing a princess or queen deck, you can cheat some lore out. And then Rapunzel's Tower is a 2 cost location, 1 move cost, 8 willpower. That says characters here get +3 strength while being here. Like, if you're like on an aggro, just like not trying to have stuff die.
Imagine you're playing Lemon Lime. You put Diablo there. He's a 2/5.
I don't like to imagine that.
That's what I thought. I think this location's really nutty.
I don't think it's really nutty because it doesn't get you passive lore, and so depending on the scenario. Obviously, Diablo's mostly not getting shown. In your example, Diablo's mostly not getting challenged. He's getting brawled. He's getting Medusa'd. Obviously, it takes him out of sword range, and so there's a few steel things where he's a much...
Strength, takes him out of strength.
Strength, he might not. Most likely. But anyways, I was really, really low on this one at first. I'm coming around to it. I don't think it's busted. I think it could have a place in some decks. Like in aggro decks with like, your Amber, Amethyst, Hyper Aggro, just... get like 3 cards on the board and then throw everything in there, and then it's really hard to kill it all.
So I've seen this discussion. So in Ruby, there's the Felicia, it's 3/1. So you can make her a 3/4 on turn 2 with this.
That's not a bad play either. I mean, my more thought was turn 1 Lilo, turn 2 Simba, turn 3 Rapunzel's Tower moves Simba, and then Simba's goat. A 2/5 bodyguard.
He's a goat
that can.
He's 2/6.
Oh, he's a 2/6, yeah. So I see the merit. I think it's a bodyguard's like paradise. So we'll see how that one ends up. I think there's some potential there for sure. Moving on to Amethyst. Some of these are in foreign languages, so that makes it a little more difficult.
If there's a specific one that you want to talk about that is in a foreign language, I can pop it up.
What's the turtle do? I mean, turtle. We have a Merlin turtle.
Look at the 2 top cards of your deck, and then I think you change the order of them.
Put one at the top, one at the bottom.
But it's a rabbit goat play.
Yeah, so it's on play. It's another Merlin, so it's on play, on banish. There's a lot of cards in Amethyst that are getting on to the like get lore from like knowing the order of your deck and ordering of your deck.
When you play this character and when he leaves play, you may look at the top 2 cards of your deck, put one at the top of your deck, and the other at the bottom.
Yeah, so it's kind of a squirrel. From like it's just a squirrel ability but on a bigger body and quests for 2. So there's a lot of abilities that are like ordering your deck and things like that. We've also got a new Madam Mim, the Madam Mim Elephant, which is a 4 cost inkable 3/7 body. Like like a 7 willpower body scares me.
It does.
Like a 7 willpower location scares me.
And she has a maybe kind of useful passive ability on a good body.
Yeah, it says when you play this character, banish her or return another character of your hand. So it's, a balance like Mem. But then her ability says at the start of your turn, you may move up to 2 damage counters from this character to chosen opposing character. So you have to take her out.
An ability like that, like obviously we have Belle and Mama Odie and stuff like that. But that being on an already useful card, a good body, could be dangerous.
But it's every turn too. Like Belle's on play.
I know.
Like this one,
is dangerous.
It does scare me because a 7 cost body is scary. Like there's not much that does 7 damage in a turn.
And it's almost on that like threshold where like it's not doing enough in the game to where like if they waste a Medusa on it, you're kind of okay.
You're definitely okay. If this is getting Medusa, I think you're in a good spot. I
think it's a sleeper.
I think it will definitely see play for sure. Potentially my favorite Amethyst card, the Elsa, the 5th Spirit. This is one of the older ones.
Oh yeah.
She has Rush and Evasive, so she's one of those characters. 5 cost Inkable. When you play this character, exert chosen opposing character, so you can play her, exert something, and then potentially kill something. So that's pretty exciting. I think we also have to talk about Magicka. So there's a new Magicka Dispel, a 4-cost Inkable 2/5 stat line, quests for 1, with an ability that says during opponent's turns, if an effect would cause you to discard 1 or more cards from your hand, don't discard. So
there's quite a few cards in this set. It's like, I think Bucky could have lived.
Yeah, I mean, it's very tough because on one like side of my brain, it's like, this would be in the current meta, this would be by far the best deck if this had this card, because the biggest problem that Ruby Amethyst has is that it can't necessarily keep up with Bucky. This kind of negates all that and makes it, not important. And so it's, from that respect, I'm glad it's not in this set. I don't know if it'll see play or not. I think with Bucky being gone, I know there are other new cards that come out that cause you to discard, but I think it's really slow. It doesn't quest for a lot.
Against Whole New World, if your opponent plays Whole New World, which they wouldn't against you, but you don't discard, you draw.
I know, and again, I understand that, but you also have, if they kill it and then Whole New World you again, it didn't do anything. And so again, you have to guarantee impact.
But if they're killing it, they're going out of their way.
I don't know. I think it's okay. I could be wrong on this one. I'm happy to be wrong on Magicka. I don't.
She finally gets a playable card.
Yeah, I just don't see that one being very good. Where's the new Anna? I guess that's not on this list.
I can pull it up.
Yeah, so there's a new Anna that's kind of like Elsa. She's a 7-cost uninkable.
Which makes sense.
That has the ability that says whenever you play this card, exert all opposing characters. While Jake pulls it up to find the rest of the stats on it. So I feel like that's very impactful again, and like a Bucky, Cogsworth, Prince John, a warded, opponent, threat that they don't ever make vulnerable. That gives you the ability to make all of the cards vulnerable, so you can go attack into whatever it is that you're trying to banish. Most likely a Cogsworth or a Prince John or something along those lines that is very pesky that you can't remove. What's the stat line on it?
7 costs, uninkable, 4 strength, 4 strength, 5 willpower.
Quest for 2.
Shift for 4.
Shift for 4. Okay.
It also counts as a queen.
Yeah, so I think that one has a lot of potential too. It is uninkable and it is 7 costs, so I think there's an uphill battle for it.
One of my favorite arts so far as well, to be honest.
Yeah, if that one was enchanted, I would not be sad.
I would love if it was enchanted.
So I mean, again, I'm a terrible Amethyst judge because I thought that Belle would be pretty good. It's seen a little bit of play. The Mystic, the one that moves the damage this set. I think there's Amethyst, Ruby Amethyst, every set goes under a complete rework, a rebrand essentially. I imagine that happens this time too. I think with it goes the Madame Mim elephant. I think with the Madame Mim elephant, you're gonna get it in the Belle and a lot of the damage moving. I think you really could get into a world where that actually is extremely viable, because you can move some damage off. You can move 2 damage off of Madame Mim Elephant just from her ability. Then if you play a Belle the next turn, you can move more damage off of her. And so I didn't even mention that, but that happened to me in Dallas. Somebody played the Belle against me, and I was like, oh, that's bad.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's can catch you off guard a lot. So I think the damage moving has some potential there, but again, I'm a terrible Amethyst player. I don't even pretend to be decent anymore. So from that respect, I'm not gonna try to judge it a lot. Fair. But we got to move on to Emerald because it's completely retooling itself.
As always.
Yeah, it's with the Bucky errata, there's gonna have to be a complete kind of redesign of the Emerald Steel deck, which the damage ping that you tried to get working in set 2. Like, they've just continued to add tools to it.
I knew it was coming. And I could foresee it.
They definitely have a bunch of new tools. So we've got a new Robin Hood card. That's a 9-cost uninkable. This is
the Chernabog.
6/6 stat line that quests for 4. That is basically the Emerald Chernabog or... Kristoff, yeah, that's what I couldn't remember who it was. And so it says for each 1 damage on opposing characters, pay 1 less to play this character. I've read that wrong every time up until this turn. So if you have 1 character with 4 damage and another character with 2 damage, that's 6 off this card.
Yes.
That's insane.
Yeah.
6/6 body is nuts too.
Yep. Quest for 4.
Yeah.
Ward.
Yeah.
Which honestly, I think the ward is almost like
that makes this super playable.
It's nuts.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, this is a really good one. The damage ping deck is going to be a thing. Like in our group text chat, I said my 3 decks for this. Well, I'll get to that in a little bit. I don't want to spoil everything. We'll get to it in a little bit. Yeah, that's one of the new ping damage cards. We've got the Fairy Godmothers, which I like the art of them. We've got Flora, Merryweather, and Fauna. They're nothing special, but I just like that. Again, Absolutely. We're getting more theming together.
And the art is connected.
Yeah. What is Little Baby Robin Hood? We got another foreign. Oh,
this one's
card.
Good, I think.
I think it is too. Which is it's another Robin Hood, which is why I wanted to call it out. And also Prince Philip. I need to help look up some of these too because clearly there's a bunch of.
Okay, so the Robin Hood, it's the
2-cost inkable Robin Hood.
It in the translation says it's archery competitor. Who knows what that's
what that actually means in English?
So he's a 2/2/2.
Yep.
Inkable, quest for 1, and his ability is when this character is played, if opponent has a damaged character in play, gain 1 more.
Yeah. So I think he's also kind of a shift target. There's a ton of Robin Hoods in Emerald Steel now, there's a lot of, and we'll get to some more of the Robin Hood synergies. There's a new Prince Philip as well, a 7-cost inkable Prince Philip with a 3/9 stat line, which is pretty insane. He's got 2 abilities. He's got one that says Dragon Slayer that says when you play this character, you may banish chosen opposing dragon character. I don't think that's that doesn't guarantee you value, but with more and more dragons coming out, Maleficent, Sisu, Baby Sisu, it's getting to a place where that could make sense.
Yeah.
His other ability says whenever this character challenges another character, you may ready this character. Whenever this character challenges a damaged character, you may ready this character. So you can basically scar him if you're challenging. Yeah, if you're challenging a bunch of damaged characters.
Which 3 strength isn't much, but
no, that's definitely not the card I thought it was when I clicked on it to get in there. But there's a lot more damage stuff going on here.
Okay.
The Robin Hood shift, the
Sneaky
5
sleuth.
Yes, there's a 5-cost inkable Robin Hood, 3/5 stat line, quests for 1, shift 3. So again, there's a ton of Robin Hood shift targets between Emerald and Steel now. His ability says this character gets +1 lore for each opposing damaged character in play. So you could, conceivably quest him for 3 or 4. Again, the thought is oh my god, I could quest him for 6. Take a step back. That's not gonna happen very often. But questing for 2 or 3, even going from 1 to 2 or 3, 3 lore is a lot.
I mean, I love this card.
Yeah, that's a really good one for sure, especially because you can shift him. The shift 3 is insane.
Side note, in my opinion, best art in the game so far.
It's a really good one. It is a very good one. I can't deny that. You're welcome. Getting onto one of the songs. Shuffle chosen character, item, or location into that player's deck. That player draws 2 cards. So Emerald has a way to deal with locations and locations and items that they otherwise didn't really have a way to deal with before. I think that's big for the color.
Talk about Obscura Fear?
It's fine.
Okay.
Giving, pay 2 ink, banish the item, give a character ward until the start of your next turn.
All characters.
Oh, all characters. Okay, that's decent.
All your
yes,
characters.
all your characters. That's decent. Okay. Yeah, that's a little bit of a
1 cost inkable.
Yeah, 1 cost inkable. I think that, but it's basically a 3 cost because you got to pay 2 to use it, and so you're not using it on anywhere. I mean, that's kind of a closeout one, anyways. But the next big one that we have to finish out for the Robin Hood ping damage deck is the Sherwood Forest as a 2 cost inkable location with 2 strength and 7 willpower. 0 lore pips, so it's definitely like a check against it, but it has 2 abilities, and it says your characters named Robin Hood may move here for free.
Okay.
So that's obviously big.
That 2 move cost.
Yeah. And if we're playing a Robin Hood ping damage deck, you're going to have a bunch of Robin Hoods and a bunch of Robin Hood shift targets, especially with Champion of Sherwood, Sneaky Sleuth, which we just mentioned. So there's a bunch of shiftable ones as well. And then the second ability says characters gain ward and exert to cost 1, deal 2 damage to chosen damaged character while here. So again, just more ways to kind of cheek out some ping damage. Also, if we're on the Beast Relentless train.
So, Champion of Sherwood would gain ward. That's nuts.
Yeah.
Like, move there for free, gain ward.
Yep.
That's nuts.
Yeah. And then just do a bunch of ping damage for Beast Relentless.
You deal the damage. Wow.
Beast Relentless definitely is going to be in this deck.
I hope so. I hope so.
He's the beast that says...
I have 4 of them. I knew he was going to be good.
He's the one that says anytime you quest, or anytime an opposing character is challenged, you can ready the character, and there's not the stipulation that he can't quest again, so you can OTK with Beast with all this ping damage. So that's kind of it for Emerald. Again, there's not a ton of discard. Well, there's a new Prince John's Mirror that's not on this list we're looking at, but it says it's a 3 cost inkable item that allows you to pay 1 less to play it if you have a Prince John in play, and says if your opponent...
So at the end of each opponent's turn, if they have more than 3 cards in their hand, they discard until they have 3 cards in their hand. Sorry to cut you off.
Thank you. I think this one's good, obviously, but I don't think it's broken. I think any good player that you have this in play against is just going to play around it. 3 cards isn't 0 cards. Like, you're not top decking by any means, and so...
I think that the most value you're going to get is the first turn you play it.
Yeah, most likely. If you're able to play it on 3 and catch your opponent off guard, then if they're not a Sapphire, like if you're a Sapphire player, I'm just playing Quill and I'm making a couple things and I'm playing something, I'm getting down to 3 cards so you don't get any value from it. But there is the potential that you do get a lot of value from it if you're not playing a Sapphire player.
It is somewhat limiting, I think, though. I think it, to how much you can extend on it. Like, if you're whole new worlding and your opponent has that on play,
Yeah, no, there's definitely places where it does have a lot of value. I just don't think it is as busted as a lot of people initially made it out to be.
No, I agree with that.
Okay, so moving on to Ruby, there's a ton of the racers, which I'm not high on a lot of these. I don't think it's very, there hasn't been a ton of Ruby stuff that's excited me yet. But there's one kind of cheeky combo that I like.
Okay.
That's, there's I'm going to say it wrong. Is it Taffeta?
Taffeta
Mutton Fudge. That is a Floodborn 4-cost shift for 2 with a 3/3 stat line that says once per turn when this character moves to a location, gain 2 lore.
She has Taffy in her name.
Taffeta, got it. And there's also a new location that's called Sugar Rush Speedway. That is a 1-cost uninkable. Has a 0 move cost. So you move Taffeta to Sugar Rush for free. You get 2 lore. And then the ability at Sugar Rush is once per turn you may exert chosen character here and deal 1 damage to them, then move them to another location for free. So you move her here, you have RLS Legacy in play, then you move her to RLS for free. And she gains 2 lore and then keeps her safe because at RLS it's evasive, right? It's evasive and ward.
No, you get
that's Fang, yeah.
Fang River, yeah.
So she's got evasive, so then people can't challenge her. Next turn, move her back to Sugar Rush Speedway, get 2 lore, exert her, move her back to RLS Legacy, keep her safe again.
Well, she's dead.
No, because it does 1 damage and she's a 3/3.
She's 3/3. Okay.
So you can do it 3 times. Or you can, and then on your last time, you just move her to the Speedway, don't move her back. And then if they can't kill her, then you move her back the next turn. And so anyways, I think it's a kind of a cheeky, fun combo. Is it going to be really like competitively viable. Probably not.
Probably not.
But I think it's worth talking about because it's kind of fun. We haven't really seen any like true removal.
We haven't. Which, we usually get it on the final reveal day for Ruby.
The two big cards in Ruby so far is the Donald Duck Pie Slinger, one of the legendaries that has a Shift 4 ability. That's a 5-cost 3/6 body that says when an opponent has 10 lore or more, this character gets +6. So if you're shifting Donald Duck, you're killing any location or any body or anything late game to help you keep to stay in the match. So I don't think he's super broken. I don't think he's going to be like meta, defining or crazy by any means. But it's just cool to be able to think like you can actually deal with locations late game and keep people from closing out the game on you.
Can I bring up a new Ruby reveal that was just revealed?
Go for it.
So we got Maximus, the horse from
Rapunzel.
So he's a 6-cost, inkable, 3-strength, 5 willpower, quest for 2. He's a super rare in Ruby. At the end of your turn, if one of your characters has 5 strength or more, gain 2 lore. If you have a character with 10 strength or more, gain 5 lore instead.
Holy moly. Okay, so...
worth mentioning.
Another Flynn-esque character, except you have a Gaston, which I was going to talk about, that could have 10 strength. And you also have... well, Donald will only have 9. But we have Gaston, the new Chernabog for Ruby, that says, for each damaged character you have in play, pay 2 less ink to play this character. And he's got Rush. And so, you could conceivably have 3 damaged characters in play. So you could get him out for 3. And then he rushes for 10, so he takes out anything he challenges. I don't think he's great, but again, I think there's like a world where it's, there's some potential. So, we'll keep an eye on Gaston, I guess.
Can I talk about Scar real quick and just how hilarious it is?
How, what is?
Scar. So Scar...
yeah.
Scar, I don't know what... it says traitor. Scar traitor. It's a translation. I'll go through stats requests. 5-cost inkable, 6 strength, 3 willpower, quest for 2. He's standing over the ravine.
I remember this one.
His ability is when you play this character... you may ban his chosen character named Mufasa.
Which, getting into Sapphire
could be useful.
Could be extremely useful.
But if not, that is my favorite card.
Okay, so...
it's just straight up killing Mufasa.
Yeah, getting into Sapphire, we haven't had like a really good Sapphire card since set 2. I mean, obviously Dime. Like, I know Dime is a big one, and that like really changed the Sapphire meta. But Flaversham, Tamatoa, Popsicle, Belle... Hades, like Ariel, I guess can fit it, like kind of start to fit into that from set 4, but like the staples are all chapter 1 and 2. I think that changes this set.
It does. It definitely.
So there's a ton to talk about here. I'm going to try to run through it all because there's a bunch and we're 43 minutes in. So first one is a Merlin shift target. I'm not going to talk about it a bunch because it's more, we just need a shift target to talk about. It's a 4-cost inkable, 1/4 stat line, quests for 2. That has
a German ability.
I think it's resist +1. Yeah. Your character's name Arthur gain resist +1. That doesn't really mean anything. Again, I'm mainly mentioning that because we have a new shift target for the Floodborn Merlin that we're going to talk about here in a second.
But it's Merlin back from Bermuda, which is one of my favorite scenes from the movie.
Yeah.
So it's fantastic.
And then we have another smaller one to talk about. We have Chicha. I don't know how I don't know how to say her name. How do you say Pacha's wife's name?
I think it's Chica.
Chica. That's what I thought too, but I don't know why I just said Chicha. It's definitely Chica. God, I cannot talk, man.
We're good.
Just embarrassing myself over here.
We're getting there.
We have 2-cost uninkable, and her ability. She has support, and then her ability says during your turn, when you put a card into your inkwell, if it's the second card you've put into your inkwell, you may draw a card. So
2 strength, 1 willpower, quest for 1.
Yeah. So Chica, turn 2, Fishbone, turn 3, draw a card.
Pretty nice.
I mean, it helps you ramp and keep your hand full.
Yeah.
She dies really easily because she doesn't have ward or anything, but I still think I don't know how great it is. I think it could see some play.
I think it could too. I like it.
One other small one. We got another like smaller inkable character, Tippo, Chica's son.
Yeah.
So fitting. who has the two cost inkable 1/2 stat line quests for 1 that says when you play this character you may put a card from your hand into your inkwell face down and exerted, so a mini quill if you will. So again, I think that could see a tiny bit of play, but now let's get to the heavy hitters because there's a lot of them.
Okay, you were scrolling
down. I was just making sure. So the first one we talked about Merlin, so there's a new Merlin Floodborn. He's a 6 cost uninkable 3/7 stat line. We've talked about him before because he's been released for a while. One of the legendaries. He has shift 5 and says when you play this character, if you use shift to play him, you may search your deck for any card, put that card into your hand, and then shuffle your deck. So you can find your dime, you can find a removal tool that you need, whether it be Let It Go. You can find your steel songs like Grab Your Swords, Zeus. If you're playing Ruby Amethyst, then you need to find Rise of the Titans. You can find Rise of the Titans to get rid of locations. So obviously the shift mechanic I think to have that happen, you have to shift him. I think that makes sense because if you don't, it's just incredibly busted and it's impossible to counter, I think. But yeah, he's fantastic. I haven't put like a ton of testing, or I haven't put any testing obviously, but I haven't put a ton of thought into it. But my initial thought is like, with Merlin, do you need 2 dimes? Do you run like 2 Merlins, 1 dime, and then you basically have 3 dimes because you just use your Merlin to find your dime, and then you've got it. So you don't need to have 2 of them. Same thing with other character or other cards that you need, like Along Came Zeus and Grab Your Swords and Rise of the Titans. Is like, can you run fewer copies of those uninkables? I think
Dime's a different story because you can bring it back with Tamatoa. The other ones you necessarily can't.
Yeah, but. Well, I guess you're right. Yeah, but I mean, if you're finding
the other ones would be
I guess it depends on what it is. But I think there are some of those that you can cut down on, and lower your uninkable count because everything that's like insane in this is uninkable, except for Cusco. So Cusco, we've got a very happy Emperor's New Groove family and Sapphire this set. Cusco Selfish Emperor is a 3/5 card, 6 cost inkable. Quest for 2 and has 2 abilities. The first, I'm going to go by the least exciting to most exciting. He has 1 ability that says for 4 ink, you don't have to exert, just pay 4 ink. So you could technically, like late game, use this 3 or 4 times on one character to make sure they stay alive. Is your other characters gain resist +1 until the start of your next turn. So you could just pump them all. Yeah, so you could just pump them all up and keep them alive from any damage spells. But the main ability says whenever you play this character, you may put chosen item or location into player's inkwell face down and exerted. So it deals with castles, which is insane. You don't have to run Rise of the Titans anymore then potentially. And you also can really deal with dimes. You made the point on, it doesn't go to the banish pile and Tamatoa to get it back. It goes into the inkwell, and so it's, more or less gone at that point.
Which, there's no way to get cards back from your inkwell, right?
Oh, funny you should say that, because the other Sapphire Legendary actually gets card from the inkwell.
Oh, you mean God? Okay.
So, 8 cost, uninkable Mufasa, Ruler of Pride Rock, 4/9 body. 4/9 body. Quests for 4. I did not realize that quested for 4. That thing is the best card in the game. So 4/9 stat line, doesn't die to Medusa, 4 lore pips. Already, like, that alone is an insane stat line. We haven't even gotten to the abilities yet. When you play this character, exert all cards in your inkwell, then return 2 cards at random from your inkwell to your hand. Cool. So you get cards back. I mean, you unramp yourself a little bit. Ideally you're playing this on like turn 7 or 8 when you're not having to pay all of your ink to play him. That being said, it also says whenever this character quests, ready all cards in your inkwell. So imagine playing him, you have 8 ink, you play him, you get 2 ink back, you replay that ink next turn. Guess how much ink you have usable that turn? 16 ink. 16.
I don't understand.
So we talked about with Naveen cheating out value from his abilities. That cheats out insane ink value. You can quest with him, like you can play dime, like tap dime with 9 ink, quest with him, and then you have all of your ink to use again for whatever it is you want.
This one's nuts.
Is there any card aside from Audrey Ramirez that lets you ready items? I don't know off the top of my head.
I don't believe so.
Okay, because maybe Audrey sneaks her way into some decks now too, because you play Mufasa, or you have Mufasa, you play your dime, you tap your dime, you quest with Mufasa, you ready all your ink, you play something that readies your dime, and then you tap your dime again, and you've gotten 12 lore in one turn from 2 cards.
This is...
12 lore!
This card's nuts. I don't
insane.
Understand how it's allowed. Because that was the discussion, right? It's like, oh, they just... Like, it was like a few days after they errated Bucky. It's like, oh, we errated Bucky so we can introduce this to later errata.
I still think Naveen's probably a little better because like early on in the game, you just have more opportunities to get value from him. Where he's such a late game play, and if you're playing him on like turn 13 or 14 and you've got 12 or 13 ink, I guess you just play him last so that when you exert all your ink, then it doesn't. Yeah, never. I'm talking myself. Never mind. It's fine. You play him whenever you want. Okay, just don't play him first your turn. I am a Mufasa fan. I'm like that meme that says if there's 1 million Mufasa fans, I am one of them. If there's 1,000 Mufasa fans, I am one of them. If there's one Mufasa fan, that's me.
Yeah.
If there's no Mufasa fans, then I must have died and stopped playing Lorcana because that thing is bonkers. I'm a Sapphire player for life. I wanted to be from the very beginning. We've talked about this. I didn't understand rampant card draw. I understand that now. That thing is bonkers.
Now that Scar might have some viability, honestly.
Yeah, it was inkable, right?
Inkable.
Yeah,
it's 6 strength.
It honestly might, because that is next level broken in my mind. Like next level broken.
It is.
It's insane. I want chapter 5. I want to open this card so bad now. Like I'm like so hyped for this. That is insane. I want that so bad.
I'm hoping the last Emerald Legendary to be revealed is like we can match it.
This is definitely a Sapphire Steel list. Like I think Ruby Sapphire is taking a step back a little bit. Mm-hmm. I think you're back on the whole new world line. It's a little weird because you're getting into some crazy lines with uninkables between the Mufasa, the Merlin, the what was the third new one? That's
Chica.
Insane. No, God, I'm going through the list. It's Mufasa, Merlin. Oh, and I think I'm thinking a Steel, the new Arthur card, which we'll get to in a second.
We'll get to.
But yeah, okay, we're 51 minutes in. I'm going crazy. This is insane. This is so much fun, but we got to move on because there's just too much. Yeah, I think there's just banish one of your Sapphire Chromicon. Banish one of your items, gain 2 lore. Okay, yeah. We Medal of Heroes. This one's insane too.
Medal of Heroes, yeah.
Okay, so really quickly, I'm just going crazy right now. I'm just so excited for all this stuff because I am a Sapphire fan. 2 cost inkable item. It says exert for 2. Exert for 2 ink. Banish this item. Chosen character of yours gets +2 strength this turn. Imagine Mufasa's got 6 lore, and and so you give him 6 lore, you play your dime, you quest it, you tap your dime for 6, you quest with him, you ready all that ink back up, mind blown. Like that's like 16 lore in one turn. It's
nuts.
It's so much.
I think now is time to 8 cost inkable, banish your opponent's side. Be prepared, but just banish your opponent's side.
No, that's got to be like a 9 or a 10.
9 or a 10.
I mean, Prince Philip in the damage ping deck from chapter 3.
Is that its one enemy? Is that our one shot at
it honestly might be, because if you ping it for 1 damage and then Prince Philip it's like, sorry bud, you're gone.
I think that's our one shot at getting it.
It might be, I don't know. I mean, 9 willpower is just not fun, and it's got 4 strength. Right? Yeah, so we're not in Medusa range, we're not in Sisu range, we're not in anything range. We're just in you just die range.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm moving on. Sorry, like we're gonna hit an hour before we finish this, and so we got
this one deserves an hour. It's okay.
That's fair. So we've got more dwarves. I think is fun.
So, I have a personal story for this dwarf reveal. You mind if I share it real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
So this was a few hours after we decided that we weren't going to the challenge, because we made the final decision, hey, it's probably not going to happen. So I was really down. I was like, maybe I take a break from Lorcana for a while. Honestly, I was considering it.
Oh.
And then these dwarves show up, and I don't know why, but these dudes just make me so happy. So...
Yeah, they're fun.
I'm gonna have a personal.
They're all knights. I think we have to say that too. So the
knights.
style of it's really fun. They're all knight dwarfs.
These guys, I'm gonna have a personal connection to for a long time. Like these guys are sick.
They're really fun. So again, we could talk about them all. You have a favorite one. I have a favorite one. So let's just talk about those so we don't go on for 14 years. So you talk about Happy since that's your favorite one.
So Happy, 1 cost inkable, 2 strength, 1 willpower. Burst of speed is the ability. Quest for 1, but burst of speed is the ability. During your turn, this character gains evasive. I think that is one of the most solid 1-drops I've ever seen. Like, I love it. I love Happy.
Yeah, you do. I think it's fine. I get your point. It kills Diablo.
Kills Diablo.
Just move your Diablo to Neverland or whatever it was. What's that location?
The Rapunzel's Tower.
Yeah, just move your Diablo to Rapunzel's Tower then.
See, so now you're with me.
No,
you're with me.
I'm just teasing. Yeah, I see your point. Like I get your point because there's a lot of things that have 2 strength or 2 willpower that you're like evasive that you're trying to kill. So I get the point. Like I think there is viability for it. My favorite 7 dwarf / knight is Doc, which is also the best in Amber, which is kind of funny. He's a 1/3 body with a 2 cost uninkable quest for 1 and has the ability that says when you play this character you may discard your hand to draw 2 cards. So since it's a May, that's kind of cool. But also it's like not that bad of a late game like top deck. Like if you're top decking late game, like it's not a bad one. It's a low cost card. You get 2 more cards from it. If you're in a Sapphire Steel, I don't think it belongs in Sapphire Steel, but just hypothetically, like if you're in a top decking game like late game and you've got 6 or 7 ink, you can play it and get 2 more cards. Like that's not the worst thing ever. So
I think adding more uninkables is not good for Sapphire Steel. But
no, again, I don't think it fits in that one by any means. But I just think that one has the most potential. Okay, so we've talked about, I don't want to go on forever about Pete. We talked about Pete as the card of the week last week. He's the 3/3 cost inkable, 3/3 stat line quest for 1, has the ability that says whenever you play this character, your opponent may not play action cards until the start of your next turn. So it basically is an ability cancellation, and I say ability, it doesn't cancel abilities, it cancels actions. But if your opponent's trying to play Be Prepared or play Grab Your Swords or play Zeus or play Let It Go, I'm trying to think of any other like really impactful actions that come out these days. It kind of negates the lemon lime decks that discard all your stuff.
One that's been seeing a lot of play recently, especially in Challenge, the Moana one in Sapphire.
The Sapphire Moana one? The action?
How
Far I'll Go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean there's a bunch of ones, that like give you an extra turn. We talked about last episode on when we were doing the card of the week, is that there's a lot of close games that you just need to buy yourself a turn. This more likely than not buys yourself a turn.
Under the Sea?
It stops everything. Yeah, like this really kills that lemon lime deck because there's so many like that they're trying to discard you, with You Have Forgotten Me or Sudden Chill, like all of the different discard mechanics, that gets rid of all those and it buys you a turn. And if you can buy yourself a turn and keep your Hiram alive to get 2 more cards to then sing a bunch of stuff, that could be the change in the game just because you bought yourself a turn. So I like the Pete a lot. The last one I want to mention on Steel is Arthur, King Victorious, 3/6 body, 7 strength or 7 cost uninkable. That's, I think, going to hold this one back from being like insanely good. But he does shift for 5. We did just get his shift target. He's a 2/2/2 vanilla quest for 2, I think. So nothing crazy, and you probably don't want to have him as a shift target just because it takes up spots in your deck. But his ability, it's one of the top like 3 abilities in the game.
Yeah.
Like it's insane.
Yeah.
So when you play this character, chosen character gains Challenger +2. So helps you take out any locations. Gives you Resist +2. So you can challenge up.
Beast.
You can challenge up into other, more important targets. But even more importantly, it says you can challenge ready characters. So you can play him.
The one character you're giving this all to.
Yes. So whenever you play him, you give another character on your board those 3 abilities, and you can take out whatever you need. So you're taking out your Cogsworth, you're taking out your Prince Johns, you're taking out all of the important targets that you need to. If you're in a late game scenario and you need to deal with their board, and they've played a goat. Not even the biggest target ever, but the goat's going to get a couple lore. You got to get rid of it.
Castle, I think, is a...
Yeah, I mean...
That's not... That's a ready... That's not...
Yeah, so you can get rid of the goats. You can get rid of anything that's other... Like, An Aerial, Treasure Collector,
Beast.
That's in Sapphire. Beast, Tragic Hero. I mean, there's just so many targets that people want to keep upright, and this takes them out. Like
Bucky.
It's very... I think it's an insanely good card. Like, not quite Mufasa level, not quite Naveen level. Like, I'm putting Mufasa S+++ tier. I'm putting Naveen S tier. I'm putting him like Arthur right under Naveen on S tier.
Yeah, on S tier, yeah.
The 7 cost uninkable.
He's legendary. Did we mention that? Okay.
I didn't mention that. So he is one of the legendaries too, and the art's fantastic.
Art, yeah.
This is one of those cards that I think can be meta defining.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know for sure. It just, when you play it, you're getting insane value.
You know what's weird? Like, I don't know why, but it's weird. Like, I when I think of this card, I think of like how Heroic Outlaw's kind of gone. Like a really amazing ability, really good overall card.
But that doesn't... I think... Sorry to cut you off. I think the difference here is this is guaranteeing value.
Yeah.
Like, you're getting insane value when you play this. You can take a really cheap character and trade up into something big. You can take a medium character and trade into something huge and live through it because of the resist +2. You can take... a medium character and challenge into a location and banish the location because it's got the challenger +2. It's just it's getting you so much value.
Really
and then
point.
it's a 3/6 body with 3 lore. Like, it's a really, really good card. This is one that I don't think will be meta defining, like a Naveen, like a Mufasa, but is a very, very good card that at some point someone's going to figure out, and it's going to be very, very annoying.
I think I'm going to have to agree with you on that.
Okay, so we're now an hour in. I've been yapping for way too long. I've been having way too much fun. This has gotten me so hyped for the next set.
I know, man.
I'm going to say my top 3 decks that I think are going to be the top for the next set, and then I'm going to shut up, and then you can give your closing remarks or talk about whatever you want.
The thing is, now we agree a lot, so like I don't have much else to say that hasn't already been said.
Okay, top 3 decks. Sapphire Steel. I think it's going to take a little bit of time to optimize between Arthur, Mufasa, Merlin, Pete, and the new smaller bodies.
There's another Steel Legendary that we haven't seen yet, so that could add another.
That might actually be a good. I mean, it's most likely going to be. No, we did. It's that Jafar that you hate. Well, it just came out today.
Stupid Jafar. Yeah.
It's a 0/6 body with Challenger +6.
Subtext is Jafar stupid.
Yeah, it's a 6 cost inkable, 0 strength, 6 willpower, has Challenger +6. But it dies to Brawl, it dies to Sisu, it dies to Medusa, it dies to everything, and so it's just really bad. So we'll move on from that one. But there are so many new cards in Sapphire Steel and so many uninkable cards that are really, really good. I didn't even mention Sheriff of Nottingham. Oh my gosh. Okay, taking a step back. We missed this one. I skipped it because I wanted to talk about it last. This is the Sapphire Chernabog, and he's got a 5/9 body, so massive body again. He quests for 4, just like Mufasa. Insane again. He has 2 abilities. He's got support. Why does this need support? Explain that to me.
Give 5 strength to whatever.
Yeah, like imagine questing for 4 and then giving something else 5 strength to take out a castle. No. Like, it just isn't even necessary. But for each item you have in play, you pay 1 less ink to play this character. There's a lot of Sapphire Steel games where you've got 6 items out or 5 items out or 4 items. Like there's
the power creep is insane.
You easily have 4 items out between Fortisphere, Popsicle, and Fishbone. You've easily got 4 items out. Like, there's a lot of games. Like I talked about last episode in the challenge where my opponent had 8 between Popsicle, Fortisphere, and Fishbone. And Dime. He had 4 or 8 items out.
And again, to your point, like, let's say you have 2 of these in hand. Like, you can drop.
Cheese both of them out.
Yeah.
So in a 5/9 quest for 4 body, like. Yeah, so anyways, I got off topic there. So Sapphire Steel is the first deck. I think it's going to take forever to optimize. I'm not going to be the guy doing it because I'm not good enough at a deck builder. But between Sheriff of Nottingham, Mufasa, Merlin, Arthur, all of the other like littler support things, there's so many good cards that are coming out that it's going to be an insane deck. It's going to be, you have to watch out for Sapphire Steel. It's just going to take some time to optimize all these new uninkables because there's a ton of them. Secondly, Steel Song is back, baby. Steel Song is back with a vengeance.
I mean, I think so.
Naveen and Pete are massive for that deck. Massive. I cannot understate enough how massive those 2 cards are for that deck. And lastly, Emerald Steel Damage Ping.
I don't think it's going to be good.
I think it's going to be fantastic. I think it's going to be fantastic.
I don't think...
Here's the difference. In set 2 and 3, when we tried to make this
I understand
work,
it wasn't good in set 2, but I think it's weird, dude. It's really awkward.
It is. I'm not saying it's not. The difference now is that there's tools to close out the game. Previously, with no Prince Philip that can do a one-sided B prep from the damaged characters, there was no, like, you could get, it's very awkward to set up. You're trying to set up Relentless, you're trying to set up all these other pieces on board to then, like, run through and get, like, 10 lore or whatever. If you didn't get that in time, then you just lost. There wasn't enough closing power or control power to keep you going in the game to end it. Now there are all those pieces with Prince Philip and all the Robin Hoods and everything else to do the damage along the way, to keep the board in a state where you can play a little bit of a control game. And once you can play a little bit of a control game and get Prince Philip down, GG's. Yeah. You one side clear the board, and then it's over. And so, is it going to be busted? I'm sure it's not. There's so many other good things out here that can, like, really race that deck that I think it's probably fine. I do think it will be really, really good. Emerald's got so many new tools too. All of the Robin Hoods moving to the location, whatever, like the Sherwood Forest or whatever the actual name of the location is. All of them moving there for free and getting ward. Like, not being able to Medusa the champion of Sherwood. Like, imagine that. That's insane.
I mean, okay, all right.
So those are my top 3 decks.
I'm hesitant on it.
I'll throw in for my 4th deck Ruby Amethyst just because it's a cat with 9 lives and it just doesn't die and it's going to retool itself.
Now I have an interesting question for you. If there's a new ink combination that makes its way to the meta, what will it be?
I think Lemon Lime, and it's not there. Like, people are playing Lemon Lime and Under the Sea today, and one even made the top 8 at Fort Worth, but it's not like a meta deck. It's a very, very well underrepresented deck, and so from that respect, I wouldn't consider it meta. But I think it's getting some tools too, and so I think there's a chance. I just think it'll always be like A tier because it just doesn't have removal. And so anytime you're dealing with a B prep or a swords or anything like that and it doesn't have removal to really deal with along the way, then it's tough to like cross that line sometimes.
I'm gonna throw in Amethyst Steel. You got the new Mim Elephant. You got the Arthur. I think Arthur might find its place in Amethyst Steel.
It's always kind of been like a low A deck too, and so yeah, maybe it does bump its way up.
So both of those, I'd say keep your eye on.
Yeah, I agree. I can't argue with that one either. I think both of those have potential too.
And obviously we haven't seen all the cards yet.
Well, and Amethyst Steel doesn't have the uninkable problem that Sapphire Steel does, and so you could play 4 of on that Arthur and be good to go.
Good to go. Only thing is, like, no, you could probably get up to that ink pretty fast. You'd be okay.
You've got enough draw.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not one of those decks where you're in a low resource game between the rabbits and the bounce and the castles and everything. Like, you'll get enough cards. You're good. This might be the longest episode we've ever had. I went on and yapped at Sapphire for 14 minutes.
Hey, it's worth it, dude. It's never had its time to shine.
It's exciting. It's a very I can't remember a time I've been this excited for a new set.
It's good.
And not necessarily because the other sets have been bad or haven't been exciting, but there's just a lot. I think there's potentially 10 like really, really, really meta cards, and that you usually don't see that. Like, there's usually fun tools that add.
Not everything's revealed yet. We still have more to go.
That's
I feel
also
like we're missing legendaries at this point.
We're still missing a few legendaries. We're missing basically all the enchanteds, which doesn't change the game. But
we're missing a Emerald legendary, which that could throw the entire game off.
That's fair. That's fair. So, anyways, if you're still listening at this point in the episode, we really appreciate it. I yapped forever and ever and ever, and had a ton of fun because I'm so excited. We haven't recorded for a couple weeks because of the challenges and the set championships, and so it's fun to get back and talk about it because it's been forever. And with all the new news that's coming out, that makes it really fun too. So appreciate everyone for listening, and thanks for sticking with us. And we hope you're looking forward to Shimmering Skies as much as we are.
Oh, man. Now you got me hyped. Now we're hyped.
Well, I think next time you hear from us, we'll be in Shimmering Skies. So we'll catch you in the Shimmering Skies.
Oh, man. But I'll be flying.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time.
All right, bye, guys.